Hello, everybody. It's Heather Nichols here. Let's talk about being different. So, in Access Consciousness, we have this body of work that is called X-Men. And it's the acknowledgement of people that just function from a different point of view, a different perspective, a different space. And oftentimes, those people are diagnosed as having ADD, ADHD, OCD, autism, different types of perhaps mental illness diagnoses, but really acknowledging that all of those things, all of those challenges that we find ourselves having are actually superpowers. And people who are X-Men have an enormous amount of energetic awareness. So they're aware of things that are unspoken, unsaid, unseen, unacknowledged. They're aware of so much going on in the world around them that other people are not talking about. And a lot of times when we have awareness of those things and nobody else is addressing what it is that we are aware of, we think that we are the crazy ones. Has anybody ever experienced that? I know for me, I've had, been part of so many conversations in my life where I'm thinking, that like I'm aware of all these different things, but nobody's talking about it. Nobody's addressing what's actually going on, the subtext, the underlying conversation, and or even just like energetics in the world, even if there aren't any people around, that, you have awareness of, but nobody else is addressing it. Nobody else is acknowledging your awareness. And one of the things that we often do as children is make ourselves wrong and decide that we are the ones that are the crazy ones, instead of acknowledging that we have capacities for energetic awareness that other people are not actually willing to have. And so you can explore this. One of the things we do in Access Consciousness is we explore this as a superpower, as something that is an enormous gift of awareness that we can use to create something really different in the world. If you give yourself the gift of having the awareness that you have, of being as different as you are, you can start to use all of that awareness for creating very different things. And if you look at some of the great innovators of our time, or even not of our time, of history, a lot of them, like say Albert Einstein, they were X-Men. They were very different, eccentric creatures, people that didn't function like the rest of the world, but they had an awareness of a different possibility. And they were willing to actually pursue it and create it and see what they could come up with. Not all X-Men give themselves permission to do that. And to me, gosh, I would love to live in a world where a lot more X-Men saw themselves as that, saw their awareness as a gift, and did give themselves permission to explore the universe of awareness that is totally unique to them. And this is one of the things that I really love to play with in my classes and conversations is the exploration of your difference, because it is when we get out of judgment of the difference of us, how we function differently from the rest of the world, that we actually really get into a space where we can receive the brilliance that is true for us. Stop seeing it as a debilitation. Stop seeing it as a disability. Stop seeing it as something that is wrong with us, something that needs to be diagnosed, and see it as, wow, I am part of the evolution of the species to something very different, where we have a much more energetic reality and we function more from the awareness that is true for so many of us living in a world that doesn't value the energetics and that doesn't value awareness. When you start to value it and you stop judging you start to see the people in your life who function like that as well as the brilliance that they be, so many things can change. I have a couple X-Men classes coming up, and you are invited to come and play and explore. One of the things I find in these classes is one of the most beautiful things about them is that I get to watch people absolutely melt out of the judgment of themselves and into really seeing the gift and the brilliance that they are. So start to look at everywhere that they think that they're messed up and flip it on its head and see, wow, that's a superpower that I have. That's a superpower. That's a superpower. That's a superpower. And I've never seen people so quickly get out of judgment and into a different space that is so much more allowance of themselves and the willingness to be different and to use it to create a different life, a different future, and a different world. That is something that X-Men are very capable of, and I would say is quite required right now in our world. The first class that I'm doing is X-Men and Personalities. It's a 2-part Zoom call that is open to anybody, exploring how we become aware of all of these different energies and we turn them into personalities and ways of functioning instead of acknowledging that it's just awareness. And we start to debilitate ourselves with all of these personalities that we create that take us out of the communion that we actually could function from. And so that's happening October 18th and 21st. And then I don't even remember when. I think probably around the 29th of October or something like that, 28th maybe. I'm going to be doing a 2-day X-Men disabilities or abilities class that spans over 4 days because it's going to be online, 2.5 hours a day. And that class has Access Consciousness Foundation as a prerequisite and is a deep dive into getting out of everything that you think is a disability about you and into the ability that you be, the abilities that you have, and the brilliance that you be. And would love to come and or would love for you to come and play and to invite you to a very, very different conversation, different way of seeing yourself and different way of seeing the world. Thank you so much. You can find all of it on my website, heathernichols.com.